Hello buddy, welcome back to another video. Today, we're going to be talking about the 2021 free agency day here for the Edmonton Oilers, as this day was, it's really hard to put into words how I think about this day, because I I I don't love it, but I hate it at the exact same time. I don't know how to necessarily feel about it. I am disappointed, like massively disappointed with the way that, this team was constructed once again, with, the goalies that we're looking at once again in Smith and Koskinen, and we haven't improved upon that. Our defense has massively in a big downgrade, adding Barrie and Ceci, but losing Bear and Larson. We took a massive downgrade in that section. We are actually 32nd ranked in defensive numbers. That is horrible. Out of all our defensive numbers combined from last year, with all the defensemen and Nurse and Barrie, Ceci, Keith, we are ranked I think we're second last. Either that or we're last. I think Vancouver's worse than us. And that is bonkers, that we are the second last team, worst defensive team in the league. And that was a big thing that we needed to prove upon. First was forward depth. Second was defense. We needed some defense. We already practically had a very nice defensive core, with the right side being Ethan Bear, Bouchard, and, if we were to get Cody Ceci, that would be pretty damn solid, I think. You look at other teams like the Colorado Avalanche. Now, yes, they have Cale Makar, but their very young defensive core has worked tremendously. And I think even if we were to go with a very young defense core with Ethan Bear, who played very solid with Darnell Nurse, even in the limited amount of minutes that he was playing with Nurse, he was very solid. And even in his first rookie season, playing top pair minutes was fantastic. He played great alongside of Darnell Nurse, and we traded him away for Warren Fogle, which we're going to get into that later on, because we're going to practically do a whole storyline. We're going to talk about the first free agency signings, there's Zach Hyman and stuff like that. Talk about all those guys, and then we'll get into the trade about Ethan Bear, because we'll be probably making like a 20-minute video in general, just talking about all these players, because there was a lot to dissect in this free agency, and a lot to dissect about Holland's work, which the first one will be Zach Hyman. But before we get into Hyman, I'd like to just say thank you to JFresh for the analytics. I've been using them for a whole year now. I pay every month. It's about $5 a month, and you get a ton of great analytics. I would definitely go check them out if you're really into that type of stuff. If you're not, then whatever, to your own. But we're going to be using his analytics to kind of dissect a lot of these players. And of course, I've watched most of these players that we have signed as well. They're very familiar to me, with Hyman, CC, Ryan, and all those guys. Very familiar players that I've watched throughout my time. So let's get into our first free agency signing, which was Zach Hyman. This was basically confirmed like a week ago. We were just waiting for either the Toronto Maple Leafs to make a move, which they didn't. So we had to pay him the 7 years for $5.5 million, which I think this contract is... It's decent, but the term is so tremendously long. It could burn us. It really can. This contract can burn us in the later half of the years, especially it being, a full no movement clause, kind of like a Lucic contract. This could come and burn us again. Now, will it? I don't know. This could be, a Patrick Hornquist. Patrick Hornquist is a tremendous producer even to this day. And I think he got paid the exact same kind of contract as what Zach Hyman did. So if Patrick Hornquist, or if Zach Hyman produces the exact same way throughout his entire career, then awesome, perfect. But if he doesn't perform like that throughout his entire contract, in the later halves of the years, he doesn't perform as well, it's going to burn us. I think he'll be a great defensive two-way guy, though. He's going to be perfect for the team now, especially since we're going all in. Zach Hyman's going to be a huge pivotal part of that. He's already training with Connor McDavid and Darnell Nurse and Gary Roberts there, training with him. So I think Zach Hyman's going to be a perfect fit for the Edmonton Oilers, and was a tremendous guy. Put up 33 points in 42 games. Could probably pot 25, 30 goals this season. So just a tremendous guy for the team. Could play on the PK, could play absolutely anywhere for us. So tremendous pickup. The contract's rough, but there was probably other teams willing to pay higher AAV for less term, and we had to give him the term. So that's what we did for Zach Hyman, and he wanted to become an Oiler. So, the 5.5 is not terrible, but the term is what kind of burns this, him up a little bit. But still, amazing player. I'm excited to have Zach Hyman on the team. Physical guy, can get us some goals, could be a huge producer. I am really, really excited about Zach Hyman coming to the team. Now, the disappointing one, as Tyson Barrie is officially re-signed with the Edmonton Oilers for a 3-year, $4.5 million deal. He put up 48 points this year, took, a downgrade in his salary cap. Not a downgrade, but a salary cap cut, whatever you want to call it. I don't know why I don't have the word in my head right now. But this guy probably could have got out in, the free agency market, probably could have got, $6-7 million, especially almost putting up a point per game defensively. Now, you guys know me. I didn't really like Tyson Barrie's game throughout the season. I thought he was a cocky asshole, especially his defensive numbers I don't think are the greatest, as you guys just seen. His defensive numbers are not too great. He gets carried by McDavid, I feel. His offensive numbers went down a little bit this year, even though, yes, his numbers did go up. But with these analytics, it shows you how much, this player, affects that line. And it's just the war is your percentage of how he does to that team. What he does. Is he a play driver for offense or defense, which he's not defensively. Tyson Barrie is probably one of the worst defensive players on the team, which made no sense for me picking back up Tyson Barrie for 3 years, especially when you have Evan Bouchard coming up the pipeline. What do you think it's going to fully take 3 years to develop Evan Bouchard? I don't think so. I think he was ready to even maybe potentially get some top 4 time this year with how well he was playing. So I think this move was just a huge shot to the foot. And then also to see Cody Ceci getting signed right after that for 4 years at $3.25 million AAV, which, I don't hate the contract is not the worst, but it's definitely not the greatest. The term is too long. 4 years for Cody Ceci, who is a massive downgrade from Adam Larson. Offensively and defensively, he's a downgrade. This is basically what we have built with picking up Tyson Barrie and Cody Ceci is the Toronto Maple Leafs defensive core. It is actually dumbfounding how crazy this might sound, but our defense core identically looks towards Toronto when they had Ceci and Barrie. Yes, we didn't have Muzzin, we have Duncan Keith, so it's even worse. But this defense core is exactly like the Toronto Maple Leafs defensive core, and it went nowhere. And now we have it for the next 3 to 4 years, which sucks ass. We're paying all these guys huge term, and we really, Ceci was a needed defenseman. We needed a defensive defenseman, and we got that in Cody Ceci. Even though he is not the best player in the world, at least we got a defensive defenseman. It's just the thing is, I didn't think we were going to also get Tyson Barrie as well. And Cody Ceci's contract is not the greatest. He does not deserve that amount of salary, even though that was his salary cap market. And the 4 years is hard to eat. The first 2 years is not going to be too bad. I wouldn't mind him signing him at 2 years. That's what I was thinking. I was maybe thinking 2, maybe 3 years at worst. But 4 years is just, I feel like that's too much for Cody Ceci. I'm going to be excited for him to be an Edmonton Oiler, though. I think he's put up some great defensive numbers over these past 2 years, so he's going to be a really solid defensive defenseman. Just the term, once again, is a little too long, and, that's the thing about, free agency. I think that's always the problem about it. It's either too much term or, too much salary cap, always with the Edmonton Oilers, unless, it's a player that we have had in the franchise for a long time and we get, a pay cut from them or something like that, But Cody Ceci, we had to pay him the big bucks. There was a lot of talk about a lot of defensemen, and they flew all off the board. So we picked Barrie and Ceci, and we sent off Ethan Bear, which was the reason why, we traded Ethan Bear for Warren Fogle. which is another player we'll get into. But we're going to talk about, the defense first. We're going to stay on that for a little bit. We're going to be talking about Ethan Bear's departure to this defensive core and why I think it's worse. I said at the start of the video that I think this defensive core is worse with the addition of Barrie and Ceci and losing Bear. Bear was a huge positive defensively, I felt, for this team. And people will be like, oh, but he made that terrible pass in that Winnipeg Jets game. Yeah, dude, I know he made that bad pass, but he was legit sat for 2 periods, and you're expecting a guy to be ready to go out there. It's hard. It is hard to get back into the swing of things when you're sitting on the bench for 2 periods, I'm not speaking from experience, but sitting on the bench for a long time, not being out there, your legs get sore, you start, buckling, not buckling down, but wearing down. You start feeling the effects of the game, usually. So, I don't know. I think that move was just bad, trading away Ethan Bear. Warren Fogle's not a bad guy. I'm not saying Warren Fogle is a bad player, but trading away a right-handed defenseman at the age Ethan Bear was and the analytics that he was putting up, which I'll show you guys now. Look at the offensive numbers and defensive numbers. This past year, even in limited time, he was amazing. And I think Ethan Bear, at the age that he was, could have developed to be a very good right-handed defenseman, especially in our top 4. Now, no, I'm not saying he's going to be the next big right-handed defenseman. He's going to be fucking better than Shea Weber or whatever it may be, whatever you fucking Oilers fans are saying sometimes, man. It's mind-boggling the amount of hate you guys sent towards Ethan Bear, but the exact same time you guys ask me or any other Oilers fans why we hate Tyson Barrie so much. It is actually mind-boggling how much Oilers fans hate each other. It's crazy the amount of fans, like legit Oilers fans argue about Oilers stuff all the time. We disagree about everything. Ethan Bear, Tyson Barrie, whatever it may be, Zach Hyman. We argue legit about everything, and this was the biggest debate over this past season was Ethan Bear on whether or not he was a good player or not, and that we should trade him. And now we did. And it proved a lot of the people that thought Ethan Bear should have been traded and then that he was bad. We sent him off for Warren Fogle. And this trade, it's horrible. I'm not saying that Fogle's a bad player, but it's horrible in the fact that we lost a right-handed D-man and replaced him with Tyson Barrie. Plain and simple, that was a bad move. You look at the defensive numbers between both players, Bear massively improved our team defensively compared to Barrie. Now, I'm not saying Bear fixed the whole defensive core, but it kept us stable. Larson was the reason why we were actually good defensively that last season. Now we lost him. And now I think we're going to be one of the worst defensive teams in the league. One of our worst problems was defense, and now it is going to be even a bigger issue going into next year. And we have practically our entire defensive core locked up for the next 3 to 4 years. Duncan Keith to 2, Barrie to 3, Ceci to 4. Nurse, who knows, probably another 4 for him after his contract. So we're going to have to deal with the Toronto Maple Leafs defensive core for a while here in Edmonton, apparently. But anyways, instead of me complaining about this defensive core and me, talking about why I think this team's going to be bad defensively going into next year, let's move on to the player that we picked up in the deal for Ethan Bear, which was Warren Fogle. This guy was a massive play driver for offense. Now, he didn't, finish a lot, which is the only reason why he had 20 points in 53 games, but he's a guy that can produce some points if he were just able to put it in the back of the net. Defensively, he's not that bad either. He hits. He can play on the PK. He's going to be a really good third liner. Just the problem is, when you look at Ethan Bear, it's just Ethan Bear is a better player than Warren Fogle, and we would have been able to use Ethan Bear in a much better spot. Now, not degrading anything from Warren Fogle, because I'm going to love him on that third line. Either he's going to be playing alongside a Derek Ryan, or he's going to be playing alongside a Ryan McLeod. I think he will be a great depth piece for the team, and we needed depth forwards for this team. So picking up Warren Fogle is awesome. Just for the price that we sent him was painful to see. Sorry guys, before I cut off there, it was just the whole deal was heartbreaking was what I was going to say. I cut off there because my throat just completely dried up, and then I started coughing profusely. So sorry guys about that. But let's get on to the last signing, which I think was one of the most positive ones. Derek Ryan is an Edmonton Oiler. And this was a rumor about last year about Derek Ryan maybe being sent to the Edmonton Oilers. And I was all for it. This is a guy that has a big heart, plays with intensity, just absolutely puts it all on the line, has a great defensive game, and we signed him for 2 years at $1.25 million, which I think is just an absolute steal of a deal for Derek Ryan. He put up 13 points in 42 games. I think as a guy that could even put up a solid 20, 30 points going into the next season and be a solid two-way guy for us. And we need another guy like that. So honestly, forward-wise, our depth improved. I would like to see, maybe Cassie being taken out of there or Archibald, but we're going to have to deal with that. But I think our forward core improved. Our defensive core took a massive downgrade, and goaltending, we didn't do anything. And it's going to suck going into next year that, we're going to have to outscore teams every single game, no matter what. And our depth is going to make it look like that, and it is. It improved massively, and I think we could start scoring a lot more goals. Depth-wise, it's just, I don't know what we're going to be able to do defensively is the biggest question going into this, next year. So we'll have to see what else comes in this free agency. We still haven't signed Fogle or Yamamoto yet. We have about, I think it was $6.5 million before Derek Ryan came in, so I think it's around $5 million if you put Oscar Kleppbaum on the LTIR. So we still have a bit of money left, but we're looking to get Koskinen out, maybe pull in a goalie, but the market for goaltending looks really dry. I think the only other guy is Gorgiev, so maybe we go after him, but there's a lot of big questions right now for the Edmonton Oilers, and I think the way that Holland did this offseason was, to say the least, the first day of it at least, was very poor. The Derek Ryan, Zach Hyman moves were awesome. Derek Ryan was absolutely amazing. Zach Hyman was aight. The rest of the moves, I don't know. Ceci, the contract is too much for me, especially the term. The money is not terrible. Just the term is not the greatest. Tyson Barrie, I didn't want to see him back in an Oilers uniform. I really didn't want to see him back in an Oilers uniform. Like, really badly didn't want him. And the trade, Ethan Bear for Warren Fogle, was just not needed. I mean, it was needed because we signed Barrie, but I just didn't think the deal was that great. We could have got more out of it, way more out of that deal than what we got for just Bear for Fogle. I think Bear is worth more than Fogle, and honestly, Bear, have fun in Carolina, man. The fans are going to love you more in Carolina than what we did here in Edmonton. I loved you to my dearest, and you were an amazing player. No matter what anyone says, you were the highlight of these past 2 years for me, especially making the OGRs, and I absolutely enjoyed every single moment that Ethan Bear played for the Edmonton Oilers. So I'm excited to see what these new Edmonton Oilers do. I hope that they could bring their best hockey going into the next season, and that's the only way I'm staying positive right now, because honestly, I wanted to rip off heads at work, and I wanted to make this video cool as a pepper, and I did that fact. I just sat here and, talked through the pain, basically. Talk through the pain, and I'll probably go cry myself to sleep tonight. It's going to be hard to sleep with a lot of these, especially Barrie. I'm going to be having multiple nightmares about Barrie. But for right now, guys, I'm going to stop babbling here. I'm going to end this very long video. It has been a long one. The Oilers did a lot of stuff. But for right now, guys, I'm going to end the video here. Once again, shout out to Jay Fresh. His link is down in the description below. Go check him out. He has some awesome analytics. I think he just posted some new timeline perks and stuff like that. So go check him out. He's amazing. And I'm going to end the video here, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. And I'll see you guys all in the next one. Adios, amigos.